Hello everyone. Welcome to another Friday Live with me. My name's Christina. Welcome to all of you who are here watching this live, and also a big welcome to you who are watching the live replay, the full-length version or the edited version. Thank you so much for joining today. Today I have a really fun technique that I came across while filming another video. My card went south and I was trying to correct the color of the glitter paper that I used for my die cut. And I thought, you know what, maybe I can color the glitter paper with Copics. And it worked. And I ended up not using it on that card. It's one that's going to go up tomorrow for Reverse Confetti's anniversary. But I didn't use it on that card. But I love the idea so much that I wanted to create some other greetings for cards today. So these aren't going to be finished cards today. These are just going to be 3 separate greetings that I will save for future cards. So here we go. Okay, so I'm going to be using 3 different types of glitter paper. The first, well, colors really, they're all the same type. The first one is this little set here. The die is the Big Best Wishes die from Mama Elephant. And I've cut it out of some amethyst cardstock, or amethyst glitter cardstock from Simon Says Stamp. By itself, it's really, really pretty. I enjoy it, but we're gonna make it even more special by making it a gradient or an ombre. So here was my test using some different colors of Copics. We're going to go from this light amethyst color to a more intense purple and then to almost like a purpley blue. I'm going to start with the V9. Actually, no, I'm going to start with the darkest color. When I did this test up here, I went from the lightest to the darkest, but then I went back again, and I think it'll just be easier just to start with the darkest color. So I'm starting with B39, and I want the darkest shade at the bottom, and I want it to fade up over the entire die cut. So I'm not going to worry about going off the edge. I want to color all this in. And I discovered that if you're trying to save your Copic markers, like you don't want them to fray too much, it's better to just pounce up and down, especially if you've got like a piece of white cardstock underneath that's just being used for this purpose. Just kind of pounce up and down, get that ink over the glitter paper, and then the part, like the section where you're going to fade it out, then we'll do a little bit of regular coloring, and that does want to fray the tip of your marker, but if you only do it a little bit, it shouldn't be too bad. I tested this out earlier and my markers are just fine. I thought I would just do a little bit of a, what's the word? Caution, have a little precaution with this at the beginning. Okay, so I've got all this dark color at the bottom. I'm going to go to the next darkest or lightest color, I should say, BB17, and I'm going to move up. Some people are asking, let's see, if I think someone could you use this with Caran markers? You could try, but I would say no, because alcohol markers are going to color the plastic bits of the glitter. Glitter is basically made of little tiny shards of plastic. And when you use a water-based medium, it's just going to slide right off that plastic. And unfortunately, in this case, Caran markers are water-based or dye-based. So you're not going to get good results from that. So I would tend to use only alcohol inks or markers to do this specific kind of technique. And you could use Sharpies, you could, anything that's alcohol ink. Okay, so I'm pouncing this color on top. It's gonna start to connect the colors we're using. All right, I'm gonna go to my third color, which is V09 or 09 Violet. And this is going to just bridge that gap. Just give a little bit of a different color for the bottom half of this word here. Not too much needing to fade out of color, just right there like that. Okay. It is not even showing on camera how beautiful this is. You can see all the different color. The basic sparkles almost stay the same color, but it's like the paper underneath is modified by the Copics. Okay, now you can see that. Isn't that so pretty? So you just get kind of this like ombre effect. Let me put it against this white. You guys can see. Isn't that so pretty? I just thought it was such a fun idea. When I made that mistake in my card that I was talking about earlier and kind of thought about this idea, I actually turned blue glitter paper to black glitter paper, but the sparkles were still blue. It was really interesting. This next one, I'm actually using a glitter paper or a color of glitter paper that is no longer sold. So I apologize for that. This is hot pink glitter paper from Simon Says Stamp. I'm not sure when it was retired or when they didn't sell it anymore, but it's a pretty color. I've never used it till now though. And the die I'm using is Big Hugs from Picket Fence. So I cut out the shadow piece too, so we can glue that down because I want these greetings to be completely finished and ready to go on a card. Here's our blend. Isn't that so dramatic? Love it. The colors we're using are right here, RV69, RV19, and RV99. Someone's asking in the comments if card making is my job or just a hobby. So what I do for full-time work is a little bit different. I am a product designer and a graphic designer, first and foremost, I would say. That's where the bulk of my income comes from. However, making cards and doing videos on YouTube is also really fun, and I love doing it. I would say that is my part-time job. So I would not call it hobby anymore. All right, I'm going to bring this darkest shade all the way up to the base of the letters, to the very bottom of the letters. All right. Going to the next color, which is RV69. And it's going to have to come up quite a ways. I'd say maybe through most of the letters. And then the last color is RV19. And I'm going to bring that all the way up. And I'm using more swiping motions on this one right now. Oh, and I also want to fade this out a little bit. There we go. I almost covered the entire piece, like only the bright pink is up here. It's kind of crazy. All right, I'm going to use my tweezers to help pull this up because it is such a delicate little die cut. Ooh, that is so dramatic. And now I can see there's a couple spots where I missed. But look how pretty. Background for this. Although now that I look at it, maybe I want a white background because it looked so much more dramatic over white. All right, I'm going to hold the little die cut with my tweezers and turn it over and apply some liquid glue. I'm using Honeybee Precision Tip Glue. I'm just trying to get it in the closest spot possible. And I'll come grab this over here. And then there we go. So there's my second greeting. I will show you how many Copics we're using. We're using lots because we're going to do a rainbow sentiment. Let me get all these out of the way. Here's my test along this one side. I'm using the Concord and Ninth Perfect Pairings Birthday. I used this die for a card a few weeks ago. And this is the gradient we're going to be doing. Isn't that so pretty? I love it. My test. I'm starting with RV6, and I'm mostly going to pounce the color on. And then because I am fading to a very different color, I'm fading straight to an orange, I will need to kind of fade it a little bit. So I'm just going to flick that, and it won't apply quite as much ink. All right. Going on to YR04. And for this one, I'm going to kind of flick up into the pink to try to get those colors to mix a little bit. They actually mix really well. And I will come down and pounce that orange. Moving on to the yellow, I have chosen Y13. By the way, the glitter paper I'm using for this one is the white glitter paper from Simon Says Stamp. All right, mostly going to pounce this yellow because it goes on pretty light. I think maybe my marker's drying out a little. All right, I really did a lot of the yellow because when I did my little test run over here, this green really overtook the yellow when I was blending it. So I just learned from my test I needed to have a little more yellow than I thought. I'm using G14. And I'm going to fade this green going down as well. The next color is a nice teal. It is BG49. Let's see, and I've got 3 colors, so I just want to make sure I have enough space for my final 3 colors. I'm now doing more of like a flicking, trying to get it to blend with that green shade. And then I can do more of the pounce when it doesn't need to be fading. 2 more colors. I've got B18. It's a nice blue that helps us fade to purple. And I'll do a little bit of that fade going down to the bottom. And then the last color, which I've never used one of the fluorescents before, but this is Fluorescent Dull Violet. So FV2. But I love how this purple looks blending up into that blue. I think it's so beautiful and just vibrant. All right, and then I can blend that out. All right, I think we got all the edges of our die cuts. That is the best birthday. I think I do want to blend the yellow and the orange a little bit more right there and just fade that out a little bit. How beautiful is that? I love it so much. Thanks so much for joining me today, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the 3 different ideas for how to create an ombre glitter look using Copic markers. You could stretch this idea to use with die cut images or anything you want for your glitter paper to be used for. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys in another video very soon.